In this video, we wrap up the course with a focus on soft skills. As a finance manager and leader, you need to know how to encourage and motivate your team so that everyone performs at their best. In addition to being the financial gatekeeper, you must be a good communicator, influencer, time manager, organizer, problem solver, and more. If your team doesn't like, trust, and respect you, it will be really difficult to get the outcomes you need. And even if they do comply, resentment and dissatisfaction will most likely follow. So to help you establish and maintain a productive, harmonious atmosphere around the office, we're sharing 3 talent managing strategies to start implementing from day one. These include getting human resources on board, exposing your team to new projects and experiences, and finally, the 4 C's we call culture, communication, collaboration, and care. There's quite a bit to go through, so let's dig in. When it comes to talent management, your most important partner is the HR manager. Since these individuals are responsible for all things human, including recruiting, processing payroll, and career growth, they're pivotal to leading your team successfully. Partnering with HR can establish benchmarks of accountability and determine strategic incentives for each team member. HR will also supply you with crucial information such as performance evaluations and employee satisfaction rates, which are useful for figuring out how each team member impacts operations. With this data, HR and finance managers can make better decisions around training and talent acquisition and allocate finances to whatever is most needed. The aim is to combine business and culture metrics to meet the needs of the people who directly impact your success. HR is also a key role player in organizing and evaluating employee reviews. 360 reviews, for example, is an effective way of getting feedback from managers and peers. These provide opportunities to discuss strengths and weaknesses and identify where training or improvement is needed. This brings us to the next strategy, which is all about giving your team enough exposure to continue growing. Companies who are serious about growth must invest in their employees' personal and professional development. Devoting resources to staff training and skills enhancement can boost team morale and enhance retention. What's more, employees with solid technical skills will work more efficiently and are less likely to make mistakes on the job. While third-party seminars, workshops, and digital courses can be great options, you don't necessarily have to outsource. And best of all, you don't need to spend a dime. There are several innovative ways of training your team in-house. If you'd prefer a hands-on approach, you can have your team rotate jobs every so often. This way, they build out their skills and put them to practice without losing time away from their duties. Job rotation also keeps your team productive and engaged, as they're less likely to get bored with their tasks. A more long-term approach to professional development is mentorship. By pairing senior or experienced members with newcomers, you ensure that newbies are supported and guided, while seniors benefit from a fresh perspective. But you also want to keep their personal development in mind, as this impacts their morale and job performance, especially long-term. Each team member could create an annual growth plan for themselves, detailing what they want to achieve in a personal capacity. You could then have dedicated growth days that allow staff to actively work on these growth plans. Alternatively, you could encourage your team to set 90-day learning goals and do check-ins every 30 days. Another way of offering enriching experiences is to include your team in special projects. By allowing a team member to assist you on a project, you can benefit from an alternative point of view and observe how they interact with senior executives. You might just discover something you would never have otherwise. The benefit for them is feeling included and valued and getting to know the organization beyond the different departments. Expanding your team's skill set in this way will prepare them for bigger roles in future. You can also think about ways for your finance team to collaborate with other units and departments. When exposed to the systems, workflow, and members of other departments, your team have the opportunity to learn new, potentially better ways of doing. Likewise, they might share some of their best practices with staff from other units and thus benefit the organization as a whole. The final strategy involves the combination of the 4 C's: culture, communication, collaboration, and care. While each of these 4 factors is distinct, they have a profound influence on one another, so it's useful to talk about them together. In Module 2, we briefly touched on company culture and talk about how it impacts a business spending habits. Now we'll take a quick look at how company culture affects your employees and their performance, and ultimately, the success of your unit. Building your dream finance team is going to be an ongoing process as employees come and go. It's crucial to keep cultivating a supportive environment where people are motivated and happy. This way, new employees will immediately sense what kind of environment they'll be working in, and they'll adjust their attitudes accordingly. No one will flourish in a demoralizing workplace where gossip, negativity, and resentment are the order of the day, so be very intentional about creating a productive atmosphere. Communication, or the lack thereof, is the root of many problems in an organization. While there's a great deal to say about communication, remember this one golden rule. It's always better to over-communicate than under-communicate. What does this look like on a practical level? If you're unsure about anything, ask. Don't simply assume. So many people make the mistake because they're so afraid of bothering someone or appearing incompetent. But by getting clarification, you're actually avoiding many potential problems. Encourage your team to ask questions by creating a safe environment where people aren't ignored or dismissed for needing to know more. This dovetails nicely into collaboration. Even though each team member has their individual roles, it's important to emphasize the value of teamwork. Every employee needs to understand their responsibilities in the context of serving the whole and forming a part of the bigger picture. This outlook will ensure that team members accept responsibility beyond just themselves. It's about aiming for excellence individually and collectively. With this in mind, you'll often see staff members supporting each other, sharing workloads, and pulling together to cross the finish line on projects. All of the above comes down to genuine care. If you care about the people you lead, you'll aim to create a pleasant, productive culture, encourage multi-directional, open communication, and reward collaboration among different levels and departments. Being a highly new head of finance is a heck of a job, regardless of the size of your organization. And with so much responsibility on your shoulders, we hope our focus on spend control has given you some direction on where to start. Brought to you by procurementexpress.com.